Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the TNAIW GoGo Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First, to my right, he allegedly has no relation to Steve Macklin, the star of the show, the one and only Burt Macklin.
Thank you for that intro.
Yeah, Burt.
So, if you notice the smoke real quick, it's kind of for a theme. It will have to do with me, hopefully, who's someone I want to see on the rank. We had a return. So if you notice the smoke, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
yeah.
How are you guys doing? What's up?
So we're not gonna have a song come out about you called Stripper Burt, are we?
That's funny. I hope not.
Please, dear God.
All right. And to my left, not only is he the godfather of the power rankings, he's the DNA of LL TNAIW, the one and only Lucha.
Hey.
A. Smith.
The DNA of LOL TNAIW in the building.
Yeah, so we had quite the interesting show this week as we continue to build towards Slammiversary. Johnny Singer getting the big win on this week's BTI.
Whoa. That was overturned.
I thought referee's decision was final.
Yeah, that is until it goes up against the head official, and it went up against head official Daniel Spencer, also known as Griselda Ref. Shout out. Head official Daniel Spencer overturned it because he's not down with the shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm really kind of upset about it.
Me too.
To be honest with you, that win was overturned just because the second coming of Nick Patrick, Ziggy
Patrick.
He's challenged again. I don't know. Referees overturning referees is, I'm gonna call bull on that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here.
What is a catch? What isn't a catch? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think Dez caught that ball. So I think Johnny Swinger won. You know what I mean?
Hey, for every Dez caught that ball, there's a was it Larry Fitzgerald had also caught the ball because he had his foot on top of his other foot.
Yeah.
Look, officiating is not an easy job. If it was an easy job, everyone would be able to do it.
Yeah.
But
and I don't want to get fined, so I'm not going to call out the officiating. I don't want to get fined.
See, I'm not kissing ass trying to not get fined either, but head official Daniel Spencer, that's the homie. That's Griselda Ref right there.
That's
so
true,
he calls it right down the middle.
It's true.
True, you do have a point. All right, so aside from Johnny Singer, getting his victory overturned, I expect to see Nick ALDIS on this week's Power Rankings. I'm very curious to see where he lands because, homie, main evented Impact, so to speak, but all he did was cut a promo. And he attacked Alex Shelley. And I know Lucha in the past has always pointed out that sometimes just talking gets you on the power ranking. So very curious to see where he lands. Burt, what about you? Who do you expect to see on this week's power rankings?
Talking gets you on with what if what you're saying is worth, it's worth something. You know what I mean? If you're saying something, you know what I mean? You gotta actually say something. You can't just go out there and say a bunch of words. But
if you're talking nonsense, that ain't gonna get you on. Your words gotta have some weight. Talking nonsense, that's our thing. Y'all gotta go out there and talk big bullshit.
Yeah. But who do I expect? Well, in the new world of the power rankings, in the Wild West of the power rankings, with these new rules, you know what I mean? I expect to see the Rascals because they saw the formula. You know what I mean? They know what they had to do. So I expect them to, to see them on here somewhere, and I hope to see them somewhere high. And that could work in, That could work in multiple ways. You know what I mean? So.
And Burt, you're right. You're right. With the Rascals, because like you look at Trey, when Trey was ex-champ, he was getting no love. Like he couldn't crack top 5, so he's like, fucking, let me call my homeboy Wentz in to kind of help click up so we can run this machine guns playbook. So you're right. I'm looking forward to seeing Big Bro, also known as Moose, and Myers on the power rankings, just because this week it was made official. I was talking last week about Moose, Myers in the good hands. Y'all want to put them together. I'm like, we don't even know what's what. And I got ears to the streets. That's Big Bro after all. That's my big brother. So, that came from somewhere.
Speaking of that, just real quick, I want to touch Moose and Myers. We saw the card for the match for Slammiversary. If you add the Rascals, did this tag team division just get stacked?
It's been a slow build, but with Zach Wentz coming through, that was a nice, like Jeff said, that's a nice little shot of caffeine, daddy, and that's word to the Pope.
Once you add those 4 teams and then them, that's 5 solid teams that honestly all 5 of them could be champs, and that's a division right there. It will rival anyone. So.
Give me tag team King of the Mountain.
Okay.
Well, with that being said, let's play these power rankings. Number 10, Tag Team Champions ABC. Number 9, Kenny K-I-N-G King. Number 8, Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry. Number 7, Masha and Kelly. Number 6, the Debuting LIO RUSH. Number 5, number 1 contender Nick ALDIS. Number 4, world champion Deonna Purrazzo. Number 3, the Rascals. Number 2, number 1 contender Trinity. Number 1, the Motor City Machine Guns. Wow, I think this is the biggest change in power rankings that we've seen since a pay-per-view. And looking at all the points, our number 10, ABC, actually scored 30 points. They said they had 30 points, and there were people under them that had less points that didn't make the power rankings. It's crazy that our number 10 scored 30 points. Usually, the people that scored 30 points end up being number 6, maybe number 7, maybe 5. But dang, at number 10, Burt, why do you think ABC scored 30? Is that 30 points? And they're at number 10 this week.
Well, I think, one, the big turnout in the rankings this week. Shout out to the rankings committee. I like that. I think the points were spread out, and I think a lot of people were voted for. And I think as we go on, we'll see that. And yeah, like I said, I think and them being number 10 again. Everybody we name on that, I hate to say that, but they're on number 10 because they're champions. So they deserve to be on the countdown. That's why they're there this week, because really this was a stacked show. There was a lot of stuff happening, and the stuff that the people that were on the show have a big claim to be on the countdown. So I think everybody we talk about going forward, you could say deserves to be higher than them, and that's why they are.
So you're saying that Kenny King should be? Well, Kenny King did get a win. I don't know, man. I'm struggling with this one, because I guess you're right, but shit. Yeah,
I think every person we talk about going forward, let's both say if they should be higher than the tag champs, because I
can go ahead and kill that segment real quick, because the only person who I can say doesn't deserve to be higher than them is LIO RUSH. LIO RUSH he comes in, has 1 match, beats Jack Price. Now, granted, Jack Price is a damn good wrestler. The match actually wasn't half bad. But that ain't like him beating freaking Frankie Kazarian or, or Kenny King or, someone of the sort. Like that wasn't like a big win for me.
Because I don't want to reveal. That's what I have a problem with one of the other people. Because I don't want to reveal the number 2 yet, but we'll get to that. Like I said, when I get to one where I can see that it could be egregious, maybe they don't deserve to be there, I will announce it.
Personally, I'm shocked. ABC's at number 10. the lowest. But you know something? Like, I ain't even shocked that the Coven didn't make it. You know, I ain't even shocked about that.
What I say last week? Too many non-title losses, and what they do? They gave me another one.
Yeah, no, I ain't even shocked because it's like I think they almost. Well, if we do the almost made it, we'll talk about it there. But they almost made the power rankings. But that's crazy. I've never seen ABC at number 10.
I had them at 5 myself.
But do you guys think it's because they weren't on the show at all?
They don't have to be on the show though because they're the champs. You don't want your stars on every show.
True that, but dang.
I'm just like, just because Alabama has a bye week doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying, they should necessarily get punished for having a bye week. Like, that's just how the schedule came to be. You know, that's just what happened. It's one thing if everybody that was ahead of them last week got big wins this week while they were on break, but I don't think that was the case. So that's why it's just crazy for me that they're that damn low.
Yeah,
I voted for them at 5 as well. I was just checking that.
Okay, so let's talk about number 2, number 5, and number 6. Number 2 being number 1 contender Trinity, number 5 being number 1 contender Nick Aldis, and number 6 being the debuting LIO Rush. So between the two number 1 contenders, I think the reason why Trinity made at number 2 is because she actually wrestled. She had her first intergender match against Jay Vidal. Nick Aldis, I think the reason why he came in at number 5 is, yes, he is number 1 contender, but all he did was cut a promo. And I feel like the reason why LIO Rush came in at number 6 right behind him was because not only did he beat Jack Price, but also he helped Nick Aldis take out the Motor City Machine Guns. Lucha, you go first.
I mean, damn, that is a good point. Like, I was just taking the match into consideration. Like, LIO did kind of make an impact.
Pun intended?
Yeah, he made an impact, not only getting the win, but getting involved in the closing moments of the show. And maybe that's why they're so close together, being LIO Rush being at 6, Nick Aldis being at 5. I still say ABC should be ahead of LIO Rush just off the strength that they're champs. Trinity being number 2 over Deanna is really wild to me. Especially considering Deanna basically kind of had to come and save her ass a little bit.
True that.
Yeah, and yeah, she did get a win. And I mean, between the two number 1 contenders, Trinity is at her rightful spot, being ahead of Nick Aldis, because she's been in the ring like grinding week after week, having for sure more matches than Aldis is. She's getting all the work she needs as a build up to Deanna at Slammiversary. So I just don't know about putting her ahead of Deanna.
I feel you there. Burt, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is, as far as Trinity, I think I think she should be ahead of Aldis. I don't think she should be ahead of 2, being number 2. If we're looking at Impact Canon, Jai Vidal is not somebody that getting a win should put her that high. It's not like, I don't know if that's been how many matches he's had, but and then in terms of LIO, I think his place is less about who he beat, even though I think Jack Price has more of a resume than Jai. I think LIO being where he's at is purely because of him ending the show. And that ending the show segment is very, that's like what people remember, because how you start and end the show usually, you know what I mean? It's like the first and the last match are the most important of the show. And so the first and the last segment are usually the most important in the show. And then in terms of Nick Aldis, Trinity always is going to continue to be deserved to be ahead of him just because she puts in more work in the ring than he does. And if you heard the pop on TV that she got, it was obviously of course the highest pop of the show. I mean, the biggest pop of the show. So
at number 4, Deonna Purrazzo. I'm not happy about her coming in at number 4. She is our Knockouts World Champion. I feel like she should has stayed at her number 2 spot. So I agree with Lucha. I would have switched Deanna and Trinity. What about you? What about you, Burt?
Agreed. I would have Deanna number 2. I just think Deanna's at that point also too, where she's just added to that Hall of Fame resume. So she's just, and of course, yeah, I think as far as the world champs, she's been the longest out of the 2 in the company. So she's the number 1 champ in terms, the way I look at things. So yeah, I think she should be number 1, or at least she should be higher than Trinity at this point. At this level.
And to add, I do agree with Lucha. I mean, yes, Trinity won her match against Jay Vidal, but Deanna had to come in and save her at the end after that post-match beatdown by Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. Lucha, do you have anything else you want to say or add? No? Okay. Let's talk about 8, our digital media champion Joe Henry, and number 9, Kenny King. Kenny King getting a win over rising star Yuya Uemura. But then Joe Henry, came out and humiliated him by calling him Stripper Kenny. So at this point, I feel like the only reason Joe Henry is ahead of Kenny King is just because he's digital media champion. But honestly, I believe in Joe Henry. I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all of life's problems. But because Kenny King had a match and Joe Henry didn't, I wouldn't mind switching them around. But, I feel like that's the only reason why he's ahead. It's because he's digital media champion. Lucha?
I'm actually offended because I feel like Joe Henry should be ranked higher because he is got to be one of the greatest diss rappers of all time. He's got some of the greatest diss songs of all time. He should have a Grammy by this point. Give him... I need these songs streamed on Apple Music, Spotify, and all of it. I need it because Stripper Kenny goes hard. My man Joe Hendry is really just about to make music and musically rise through the power rankings. He might get a music group together and fucking take the power rankings to a whole nother level where not only is it a group, but it's a group making music about you. Yeah, you can't beat that.
I'm glad you like it. I'm not.
Burt, your thoughts?
I'm more of a Kenny King fan. No disrespect to Joe Henry. Again, I'm kind of over the video thing. What this Kenny King, should Kenny King make a song about when Joe Henry was in Impact last and he was with Grado?
No, Kenny King should beat Joe Hendry's ass. Kenny King beat Joe Hendry's ass at this point.
I just haven't been overwhelmed with him as of late. I was all about Joe Henry in the beginning, but it just seems, repetitive at this point. But he should be higher. I could argue, though, that Joe Henry should be higher just because I think out of all the champions, though, is he the longest reigning champion out of everybody?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that should account for something. So you could make a case he could be higher. But yeah, this week he should be higher than Kenny King, even though Kenny King did wrestle Joe Henry as a champ. And he was involved in the segment, so he should be higher.
Okay, fair enough. I'm surprised the match hasn't been made official yet for Slammiversary. Kenny King versus Joe Henry for that digital media title. I'm surprised it hasn't been made official.
I think it will be. We've got, I think, this week and the next, or is it next week?
I think we got like 2 more weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. It's next week. So, coming in at number 7, the newly formed Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly team, or is in alliance right now. But they came in at number 7. Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, in my opinion, are going to take those knockouts tag titles off the Coven. Burt?
Yeah, and the reason they're on the countdown and the Coven aren't, even though the Coven are champions, I agree with what Lucha said as well. Not only that, but I just think that this partnership of Masha and Kelly is fresh and it's interesting. You know what I mean? I think just a combination of the Coven losing and then just not being that interesting. I hate to say it, but I think people are ready for something different. So I think Masha and Kelly are going to take those titles at Slammiversary if that match gets made, which I'm assuming it's going to.
I definitely do think it's going to get made. I said this before and I'll say it again. I think the biggest thing with the Coven is that the lack of competition. I mean, their feud with the Death Dolls kind of got a little boring and repetitive. So I agree with you, Burt. It's injecting new blood into the Knockouts division. But Lucha, what are your thoughts?
It's not even just the lack of competition. It's my whole thing with. Sorry, had to sneeze.
That's okay.
It's not even necessarily the lack of competition. It's more so the fact that the Coven just can't defend this house. Like, they can't protect this house. They're always taking non-title losses. Like, you know, it's cool you do it once or twice just to burn out. It's like, you know what, I don't have to win here. I just have to defend the belt. Like, that's fine and dandy, but like at some point you have to defend this house. And the Coven just don't do that. And that's why they're not anywhere near this rankings and haven't been for a while. Meanwhile, Masha and Kelly, this new team that hasn't even had a tag match yet, is already higher than them on the totem. So, but can they win the big one? That's what we gotta wait and see.
And just to add to your point, Lucha, it's like ABC. Ace Austin lost to, was it John Schuyler?
It was Jason Hotch, and it was just that one little skip up. But you see what happens every other time they come out and represent. They put on for the city. They defend this house.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I was trying to bring that up to add to your point. All right, Burt, I think you're gonna be happy about this. At number 3, the Rascals, and I'll let you go first on this, Burt.
They should be number 1. Let me just first, I'll say that. But I'll tell you why they're going to be number 1. It's just for the simple, I'll make a sports reference like I always like to do. You know, machine guns have been Alabama lately. But you know what? You know what happened? Georgia happened. And that's the Rascals. They started out recruiting, and they started beating them on the field. And the Rascals are Georgia. And Trey Miguel went out and did got a 5-star recruit, Wentz, and I think that it's only a matter of time before they take that number 1 spot.
Meanwhile, there's Ohio State up there getting disrespected at number 10, but they're coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all fun and games to get stuff together in the off season, but we got to play these games. So we got to see what happens when we do get Rascals and machine guns and who's really about it. I mean, the only thing that gives the Rascals any case to be number 1 is just off the Trey Miguel should be getting his residual respect, like his respect that he wasn't getting during his reign, like he should be getting it now. But it's also, bro, you walked away from that situation without your belt. At the end of the day, you're most definitely benefiting from the nostalgia and the shock value. Y'all ain't gonna be number 3 next.
Don't say that in front of Burt. So I'm gonna be upfront about this. When I started watching Impact a little over 3 years ago, I think it's 3 years ago this month that I started watching Impact. I think the Rascals were halfway out the door, so I didn't get to see much of the Rascals. But I will say, I think that bringing back Zachary Wentz is a great addition, and I think that they will beat the Motor City Machine Guns, and at some point will become tag team champions.
Waste and Bay are the champs.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying eventually they will once they're done with the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
I think it's no surprise here. Number 1, as always, the Motor City. So I know that Chris Sabin technically won his match by DQ, right? Or was it referee stoppage? No, right? He won by DQ?
DQ. Interference.
DQ. And Alex Shelley, got beaten down by Nick Aldis. But it's just the fact that they're the X Division champion and the Impact World champion. They're number 1. So Lucha, what are your thoughts on once again Motor City Machine Guns being number 1 and what happened with Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley on the show?
I mean, as far as the segment goes, yeah, Shelley was on the losing side of it, but he didn't, lose a match, didn't lose a belt. There was no momentum loss, really. until they lose a match. So all I'm on. They're fine until they lose a match, and they haven't lost a match.
Yep, are you, Burt?
Yeah, they're number one until someone else goes out and takes it. So just because they're too powerful together as X Division and World Champs, so someone's just have to go out there and take it.
I agree there. I mean, there's not much more to talk about, you know? I think with that, we did the top 10. So now, let's move into a little segment I like to call Which Match Has the Most Implications on the Power Rankings with Lucha. All right, Lucha, what in your opinion, what match has the most implications next week in regards to Power Rankings?
It's a good question. Burt, you got the card?
So far, all we have is, I think, Alan Angels versus Jonathan Gresham and Frankie Kazarian versus Eddie Edwards.
Now, out of those two matches, it seems like Eddie and Frankie have the higher chance to be a main event. So with that assumption out in the universe, I'll probably go with Eddie versus Frankie being the one with the most implications. But I don't foresee the winner of the match cracking the top 5.
I'm gonna go the other way just because both Alan Angels and Gresham are in that Ultimate X match, and just going into Slammiversary, you know what I mean? I think whoever wins that match is gonna have a lot of momentum. So I think the winner could be pretty high. So I'm gonna go with that match.
Why not both? Why not pick both matches to be as power ranking implications? Because like Lucha said, Frankie Kazarian versus Eddie Edwards has a chance to main event, and they could crack top. What did you say? Top 5?
I don't think that the winner will crack top 5.
Oh, okay. And then Alan Angels and Jonathan Gresham are in the Ultimate X match at Slammiversary, so definitely a win would carry momentum into Slammiversary. And not only that, you're overlooking one thing. Alan Angels is a part of the design, which means he's a faction. So I think that design would be a little, maybe a little higher than either Frankie Kazarian or Eddie Edwards because they're a faction.
Yeah, but I don't think the design are doing much as a whole right now. I think Alan Angels is kind of, I think they're kind of taking a backseat to him at this point. You know what I mean? I don't see them being on the show at all.
Yeah,
and they've came off of a loss. They're not necessarily riding any sort of momentum high at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. Alrighty then, you guys, that's it for today's show. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Thank you for making last week's episode the most watched episode of all time. We love you guys so much, and thank you so much. The support has been amazing. I know Lucha, Burt, and I, from the bottom of our hearts, man, we love you guys. Gracias. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified not only when this video drops, but whenever TNAIW releases other content such as Lucha. Would you mind explaining the content?
Yes. For those of you who were on the journey when we did the Ryder Cup to crown a first ever TNAIW World Champion, that was won by Burt's boy Jeff Jarrett. It's time to crown a Knockouts champion, and we're starting round 1 of the Athena Cup this Wednesday. Matches are going to include Deonna Purrazzo versus Velvet Sky. We got Gail Kim taking on Su Yung. We have Taya Valkyrie versus Rosemary in a Battle of Ragnarok. That should be a great one. And the main event is Jordan Grace, the Juggernaut, taking on Tessa Blanchard. So that's what we got lined up. Those 4 matches. We're opening up round 1 of the Athena Cup.
That was like interesting, very interesting. Can't wait to check it out.
Hey Burt, have you seen the full bracket?
No, I have not. I'll have to check it out after this.
All right, yeah. So next week's episode, I need your prediction to see if you can go 2 for 2.
Okay, definitely.
Lucha, was there a big show this week? Where is the big show? It's a big bad show tonight.
There was indeed a big bad show that was taped. Well, you know, we were live on Twitch. We're gonna be live again the day after Slammiversary to talk some Slammiversary. Should be fun. But yeah, y'all, if y'all missed the live stream, it's for sure up for on demand on Twitter. So y'all on Twitter, I'm sorry, on YouTube. So y'all just go to the YouTube account, check out all our fire content, and stay up to date in all the nonsense.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.